You're listening to the Jaybird Watching Podcast, the official podcast of jaysjournal.com and Fansided.com. We are the official ballroom chat for everything Toronto Blue Jays baseball, from game highlights to rumors and all the stuff in between. Here is your host, Craig Borden, with co-host Jason Lyons and Liz McGuire. Now let's talk some Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Why, hello there, Blue Jays fans, and welcome to what is the actual last regular season episode of the Jaybird Watching Podcast. I am your host, Craig Borden. With me, as always, Liz McGuire. How the hell are you doing this evening?
I'm good. Good.
Good.
I've been at many baseball games this week. I think I'm going to 5.
Saw that.
I've been to many baseball games. The Dome was open last night. It was a beautiful night in Toronto where there was winning, there was action. It was beautiful.
A little bit of excitement.
Well, there was total excitement. It was a blast. Yeah.
Vladdy Mania with more home run or more RBIs, and Alejandro Kirk on fire.
He's hitting like 303 in the last like I think maybe month or something. I don't know.
Yep, another great outing for Gossman.
Yep.
There's some wins. So really cool stuff. But obviously we're going to dive into that and get going and have some fun here on the Jaybird Watching Podcast, Liz. But I think we got to talk some of the kind of silly fun things to talk about right off the bat. You sent me a very interesting article about a certain other baseball team that happens to be in Toronto that might be trying to recruit somebody. Lay it out there for the Blue Jays.
So apparently, listen, the Toronto Maple Leafs Baseball Club is looking to recruit one Joey Votto to play on their team. Now, it sounds like a long shot, but Votto could. I could see it happening. I think if anybody would play for the Maple Leafs, and I mean, they do. People do play for the Maple Leafs. Post MLB players play a lot of times in the Maple Leafs. Dalton Pompey played for the Guelph Royals. His brother also played for the Guelph Royals. So yes, it could happen. If it did happen, I would die inside. It'd be the best. And I also enjoy how there was a statement from the Toronto Maple Leafs saying, we want to add a little bit of sex appeal to our team, whether that be Votto, but who knows? Maybe they'll call Brett Laurie from the ether. I don't know where he went. He's a babe who plays baseball. He's Canadian. Yeah. Anyway, that is the hot gossip today in Toronto non-Blue Jays baseball.
Yeah. And for I got to go to, obviously with you, my first Toronto Maple Leafs baseball club game a few weeks ago, and I had a blast. If you have somebody like that is Joey Votto's character, being able to be in that ballpark and have a good time with all those guys, I really think that would be like the equivalent of do you ever see those old videos of Jason Wirth showing up at a regular everyday slow pitch softball game, just dropping dingers?
Yeah.
It'd be so much fun.
Yeah.
But I think there's a little bit of smoke to that fire because Joey Votto is one of those guys that's just quirky enough of a guy that regardless of the fact that he is probably going to the Hall of Fame or at least going to get some serious comprehension for being on the ballot, he would do that. I really wouldn't be shocked. It's that character of the love of the game kind of thing with him.
He was in Toronto all COVID or for a large period of COVID playing chess. And he was like, I think in Scarborough, he's on the TTC all the time. Playing chess, but I don't know where he resides for the most part, whether that be in Cincinnati or I don't know. Like he was spotted around town about a week ago. Everyone was like, I saw Joey Votto at the park. I saw Joey Votto here. And I was like, that's amazing. That's the city I want to live in.
Yeah, that's almost as good as the preseason stuff that we got this year when he was still waiting to be recruited by a Major League Baseball team, and you basically saw Mopey laying around, kind of like Joey Votto, hanging out in parks, going, "I'm not drafted yet.
I'm not drafted." And then
when can I come play?
He got into it with the shopping carts. He would do, I don't know. He would give updates on shopping carts.
I'm not putting this back, and just until I get picked on a team. But like I said, I think that's the love of the quirkiness that is Joey Votto at the end of the day. So that I do think that would be really fun to see him playing there, and that environment would totally feed off of the fact of him being there. Because like I said, I had a blast tonight, and I can't wait to the next time I get to do that when I come up for one of my trips. So that's going to definitely be on the agenda. Obviously not this weekend. When I'm going to be up.
Yeah.
So, but cool things aside like that, obviously it would be a very fun time to see that. The Blue Jays also announced their team that is going to be going to the Arizona Fall League. And I can't believe that these are the only names that are actually on this list, because I was surprised a little bit.
I thought it would be a longer list.
Yeah, especially with the level of talent that we have in our minor league system. That they're not top prospects in baseball in whole. No. So you would think that there'd be something that's like the Arizona Fall League is legit competition, and we always see everybody every few years is the surprise of that league, and they usually transition really well into the majors. And we've seen that in Blue Jays fandom lately with the fact that we were hoping to see Ricky Tiedemann, and he's been continuing to go. A few years ago, Eric Pardinho was one of the ones that was ablaze in that, and finally he's back, and I'm very excited to see what he did at the end of the season here. But there's been a lot of talent that shows off in that and moves very quickly through the next pieces of their minor league system. And this is no ding against the names that are on here, but Edinson Paulino is like the only one that stood out to me as like, yeah, it makes sense. And then Kendrys Rojas was the other one that is a pitcher that I thought was really made sense. The rest of the gang here I'm glad they're going. Maybe they're one of the breakouts that I don't know about, but I was shocked by the names.
Is Elvis on that list?
He is not yet.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be on the list.
I was very shocked by that one not being on the list, because especially post suspension for the PEDs and all that kind of stuff. I figured if you were going to try getting your stamp back of, hey, I can play this game without all that mess, that might have been the way to do it.
I also wish, I don't know what like Bo does in his off season, but I wouldn't mind seeing Bo play winter ball. Maybe he's too elite for that or whatever, but like he's been injured. He's been having a hard time. Like it'd be nice to see him kind of pull out of it. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't need it. Maybe he's got the resources through his private like funds and family to just train away, but it's not the same.
Yeah, and I wonder how much this is actually the effect that the Blue Jays have one of the best, off-season places to go, which is that wonderful new sports complex that we actually had the mayor of Dunedin on it last spring training before you jumped on the show to talk about. And we'll have to get her on again this spring training, but it is world-class, that facility. So somebody like Bo Bichette's just going to go down there and hang out with all the guys and probably play a bunch of inter-squad things and see some live pitchers, So maybe that is a down effect for something like this.
It could be just like they have the training staff at Dunedin. Where's his family from? Florida? No?
He lives around Tampa, I think, the whole year, all day, every day anyway.
Yeah,
so
it could just be, I'm going to hang out at home, train at Dunedin, and that's cool too.
Yeah. I am excited to see what Rojas is going to do in the Arizona Fall League, though. I don't know if I'm usually the minor league nerd, so I'll just go and say it. 55 innings, and he had a 2.43 ERA for Dunedin this year. And the next level up with Vancouver. But that's awesome. I really think that's a hell of a start for somebody, and as young as he is, it could be so what I'm reading here from Keegan Matheson, it could be a nice way for him to use as a stepping stone to really run through the AA level and get to Buffalo in the very near future. But that's a nice young arm that we have that is going to get a chance to really see some high-end talent and see what his stuff does.
Yeah.
So good stuff. But I thought it was more crazy that you look at some of the other names that are floating around for other teams and through the Arizona Fall League. The San Diego Padres are sending that 17-year-old kid, Ethan Salas, who is their top prospect, I think, at this point, or damn near top. Yeah. Sending him. I'm shocked I'm only seeing one White Sox.
Yeah. Man.
Come on. Colson Montgomery, who is intended to be one of the better shortstops in the near future. He's going. Another one, Colt Emerson for the Mariners, very high-end prospect. So there's some names here, and then you look at the Blue Jays 7 guys, and it's like,
they're not
sending better guys that could have went.
Yeah, you think Arjun should have gone? Like,
I think that would have been a nice pick to see what he could do. Honestly, I name dropped Eric Pardinho a few minutes ago. I would love to see what he could have done again in that, because he's still a very young player. Everybody forgets that when the Blue Jays pulled him, from the Brazil in the draft and everything, he was literally 17.
Yeah.
So it's only been 2-3 years. So he's basically 20. So, and still has all the talent in the world, I hope. Pitched out of the bullpen for the Fisher Cats a lot this year, so maybe he can ramp back up to be a starter. Otherwise, fine, be a really high-end back-end guy. So that works out. And then one of my favorite current names in baseball, in minor leagues baseball for the Mets, is on this list, and I just love that it's Jet Williams as a baseball name right there.
That's a cool baseball name.
So, yeah. It's really cool, but it's that time of year where everybody gets excited about who's going and whatnot, and yeah, as a Blue Jays fan, when you don't have too many playoffs aspirations, or any, I mean, none, because we've been eliminated at this point. It's fun to look forward to the future a little bit, which obviously over the offseason, we're going to have fun with that one.
I'm taking a total emotional break. That's like the next few weeks. I'm just taking a break right now. I'm going to take a break emotionally. So what are you going
to do every Thursday when we talk here?
We're going to talk baseball.
Talk hockey?
No, I don't. I can't watch. I don't watch hockey because our team's too expensive. But I will have a stake in the game. But in terms of like faith, I need some time.
So Liz, let's just talk that theoretical. Obviously, our favorite team has been eliminated officially. Is the teams that are dangling in there right now, or there's a couple of very interesting stories as we approach the end of this. And I'm just going to be this person, as much as I, growing up, despising the Detroit Tigers for not messing it out. I don't know if I can root for them, even though they have probably the best story in baseball right now outside of Grimace with the Mets.
Yeah, I don't. So like, I do miss the days when Detroit and the Blue Jays were like they were the two big rivals. I feel that like with the Blue Jays, we're always like Boston's our rival, New York's our rival, but that's not true. They don't care about us at all. So I miss having a rival. I miss that. That being said, it's not currently Detroit, and I'm going to cheer for Detroit. I mean, I'm cheering for a few teams. I've had some people on Twitter ask me to join their bandwagon. I've been asked to join the Guardians bandwagon. I've been asked to join.
Can't do that one either.
The Detroit bandwagon, and I can't remember who else I was asked. Maybe the Padres. And like, you know what? I'm definitely here's the teams that I'm rooting for this year. Detroit for sure, because that's fun.
Yeah.
Brewers for sure. Phillies, I want to see Harper get a ring. I would love to see Harper get a ring, and I really enjoy the Phillies.
That's right, because he missed out on it with the Nats, right? That was the
year. He did. A year. So I want to see Harper get a ring. But I think I'm probably going full Dodgers. Now I've had some hate. I've experienced hate given my support for the LA Dodgers. Number one, I'm going to tell you why, even though you didn't ask me. Number one, LA Dodgers got cute. The LA Dodgers got cute hats. They're blue. They've got the little white, like, Smartie on the top. That's cute. I love that. Number two, I love Freddie Freeman. I love Mookie Betts.
Love Freddie Freeman.
I love Teoscar Hernandez. I love KK. And you know what? I also enjoy watching a little guy called Shohei Ohtani. So that's going to be fun. And it's also Shohei's first ever postseason, which I think is insane.
I'm excited to see that. I really am. You see what he's done this year, and we got to break that news last week on the show with him going 50-50 literally a week ago, and watching the most ridiculous baseball card prices ever since, by the way. So, but that is the story. You know, he has a chance to do what the Angels should have done with Mike Trout.
I don't want to talk about it.
It's that simple.
Like the fact that, and the thing is that like Mike Trout's just kind of languishing there. Like, but get some pride. Go chase a ring with your career. Like, get out of here.
I think part of the biggest part there, unfortunately, as much as I love Mike Trout, he needs to get healthy and stay that way. So that's not helping. But to your point,
he re-signed that contract.
Oh, I know.
He re-signed with them. He was
for a billion years.
Active in his active in his participation of being complicit of being like not a winner. And the MLB, we're seeing this with I've been heartbroken all day about the A's and what's going on with the A's right now. I cried on my way to the gym. And I feel like the MLB as a organization needs to be better. It needs to be better. They shouldn't have let that happen in Oakland. And you know what? They also should not have let that happen in Anaheim with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Like, that's too much losing. There's too much, like, you can't keep rewarding shitty owners.
Oh, why? Because you have things like this that go on in Major League Baseball. That Jose Canseco was the one that retweeted this picture out. Have you seen this one yet?
For our listeners on the audio, what does this picture say?
This one literally says, "I was here for the first pitch in 1968," and this is an Oakland A's fan, and he's here for the last pitch in 2024. That is just heartbreaking for a baseball fan.
It breaks your heart, and it's a decision based in greed. It's a decision. There was no reason why they had to move the team. They could have sold the team. They had offers to sell the team. I'm really heartbroken over what's going on in Oakland right now.
I think this one said it the best. You got two gentlemen hanging out, and they have custom-made Oakland A's jerseys. The one gentleman has a nameplate that says "Established" with the number 68. The other one has a nameplate with "Abandoned" with the number 24 on it.
Yeah, they were abandoned. And like the thing is that it puts into perspective, like, as a Blue Jays fan, we bitch about our ownership, and I would say daily, if not weekly. Okay, but this is an importance of an ownership, and this is kind of, we're seeing it. This is the worst of the worst that ownership can give you. They didn't care about their fan base. They didn't have a plan. Their plan was always to sell. And my heart
still don't have a plan, by the way.
No, they don't. And they also
technically
don't have a plan.
do not even have a place to play in Sacramento next year, technically. So it's all hopes and prayers for where they're going. And they don't have anything locked up for Vegas. And the fact that I have nothing but respect for A's fans, because in the midst of this whole thing, I saw there was people that were literally looting seats. I'm like, these are my season seats. I'm taking them.
And like, but here's the thing. The thing about that is, like, they were like, oh, somebody was like, we need those seats for next year because the Coliseum's still going to be used. But those seats were like rotted out, and you would see
they were rusted. I can't believe that was holding those couple of guys up that were walking away with his seat.
Right? I remember seeing the Coliseum all on TV and being like, "Oh, that whole thing looks just rough." Yeah.
What was the other one that I saw? Ricky Henderson was apparently at the game last night. That was a cool one. But the fact that the owners just, like I said, decimate a fan base like that, it's heartbreaking. I feel like it's even sadder the fact that, for Canadians, for the Expos. And
it does.
But this is like a whole new level as far as what you can how you can screw your fans over. So I don't know. I can't even put words to it. So, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, baseball is a business just as much as we would like to just keep it a game and keep it moving. But I do hope that the right things happen here, because honestly, I just hope that owner gets screwed in some fashion in the midst of this whole thing, and Major League Baseball has to hang him out to dry, because I don't know how he's allowed to be an owner when he doesn't have anything in solid for them moving a team right now. It's not. This is literally the worst case scenario for if the pitch from Major League didn't move the Cleveland Indians right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So and they have a good young talented team. That's the thing that's really pissy about this whole thing. They had a chance to actually do the Major League thing a little bit here at the end of the season. So, but closed out with a win.
Yep.
So moving on to other fun things for a change. I wanted to talk about the fact that Kevin Gausman is sneakily had one of the best pitching performances for a second half in Blue Jays history. The fact that he was literally approaching a 5 ERA, and now he's basically looks like he's had a solid season when you look at his stat card. What do you think, Liz?
Good. I feel good for Gauss. Good for Gauss. I mean, we're all rooting for Gausman. And I remember just being like, oh, he just doesn't look sharp out there. There were so many starts where I thought, and even his first, I don't know if you can pull up his ERA over maybe his first 10 starts this year. I don't think it was that. I don't think it was that. It was not a good one. So I'm really happy that he's kind of come back in form.
Yeah, he had a 4.75 ERA up to the end of June.
Not the best.
He ended up having a 2.9 ERA over his last 11 starts.
And he wasn't going a lot of innings. I remember that. Like, he wasn't lasting.
Well, and there was a few outings in there too. He got dusted right off the bat. We saw that one game with the Astros where they just beat the living snot out of him the first inning, and then he just couldn't get going, and it was a slow bleed out.
He looked gassed. I remember him looking gassed through a lot of the first kind of part of the inning, but that's good, man. It's good that Gaz has found himself. I do worry. How many years do we have left on his contract? Do you know that?
I think it's this next year, but I can look that up.
Yeah, he's getting older. I'm sure his velocity is going down. Maybe not. Maybe that's an assumption that I have or a misread.
Yeah, but some of that whole thing too with somebody like Gausman, you know, he's already been through all the trials and tribulations and all the horribleness that was his career in Baltimore. So,
yeah, he's through it.
If you're going to talk about betting on guy to figure something out in his late ends of his career, I would still wager heavily on somebody like him being able to find a way to get outs. Because the other fun thing about that is too, the splitter would play out of the bullpen. Not that I want to be paying as much as we are paying for a guy in the bullpen, but it is what it is. And he is signed all the way through 2026.
I don't mind that. I mean, like, I think we still need to kind of fill in our first guy and second guy in the lineup. I think, but it is neat to compare, like, you know, Manoah and Gausman, and like I think the mental game of the trials and tribulations of having a down season or being in a rough spot, and how hard that is and how much that can just rock you. So it is nice to know that, you know, Gaz has been through it a little bit, if not a lot, and that like he can readjust, and he knows, like he's a seasoned professional. Anyway, other than and instead of just kind of losing our guy for a long time. And maybe he can give advice to Manoah. Give some advice to Manoah, and I'm sure he is. But like, yeah.
How much do you think him and Bowen Francis had talks about the splitter? That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
because you've seen the benefits on that for obviously Bowen Francis turning into what we've seen over the, you know, since his recent return and the no hitters that we were at, and they're near no-nos, I mean, and whatnot. It's really interesting to see, but having somebody like Gausman be our number 3 guy for the next couple of years is 100% not a big deal.
No, I feel good with that.
Find a way to get outs. Yeah.
I feel good with Gaz, and I feel good with Barrios. I feel good about that. What's Bass's ERA right now?
Eek.
Yeah.
Give me a minute, I'll get it. But it's not the funnest of times. Last I checked. I'm going the wrong way here. Need to go to this one. But the other catches too. He'll be 35 when he is done with that contract with Goss. So that's not too bad.
No, I'm good with that. I'm at peace. Like, I'm at peace with our starters as long as they get more new starters.
That's actually better than I thought. He got in 31 starts this year. He's got a 4.16 ERA.
Yeah.
It seems the last few starts, maybe it's just because he's so up and down. It just felt like it was going to be a lot worse than that.
Yeah.
But then again, the Blue Jays starters, period, and this is including even Yerod in the last few weeks, they had one of the best second halves in baseball as far as starting rotation ERA. So
yeah,
there's something to build there. Now we got to get the offense and a bullpen.
Bullpen, just like please. I ran into somebody who works at the Jays, and I was like, bullpen, extend Vladdy and bullpen, please. I beg you,
please. It's going to be interesting in the next couple of days, actually, before our next show, because once the season's over with, I think they have to technically activate Jordan Romano and everybody that's on our 60-day IL, or it's right after the postseason. So all these guys that are the Brandon Littles and whatnot that are in our bullpen, a lot of them, I think, got their audition, and they're going to have to make some cuts because they have to bring all those guys some point in the next, week to month. They have to liven up the 40-man roster before free agency starts.
I am curious to see what happens to our guy Romano.
It's going to be interesting because if he's been, he's hurt, we didn't get to see him basically at all this year. We know when he's on the mound, he can be elite, but this is the second season in a row that he's had injury troubles.
Yeah.
Are we going to be able to hang our hat on the fact that, he's going to be running out of the bullpen with all that awesome red and black lighting?
I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be our closer.
Now.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be our closer. I would like to know who is our closer. I don't think they know who our closer is. Yeah.
That makes me wonder who's free agent closers now, but I feel like that's just fringing too far into the future for shows that we might have to get to eventually.
Yeah.
The whole off season. Because then all of you didn't remember, this is a full season, off season, all time podcast here. We make sure we have some fun all year round. So we're going to have guests. We're going to have fans on. We're going to have other people on. We have a guess that Blue Jay tournament kind of thing I got planned out. But this episode 427 is not the last one. We'll talk Major League Baseball probably in general over the next few weeks. And not to mention, maybe Jason will finally bring those kiddos on that he keeps promising us.
Don't be lonely. We'll keep you warm.
Exactly. Baseball's fun. We're going to keep talking one way or the other, and we'll do what we did last off season too, and always make sure we end every episode with a stupid blooper on a joke. Can only have so much fun talking about the Jose Canseco ball that I had seen. I showed him a few minutes ago. So you've seen that highlight, I'm assuming?
Yep.
It's always a good one. So, but yeah, we're going to get there. But I do want to talk a little bit about the playoffs, obviously, and just go that avenue because we started going that way as far as things go. I'm rooting for the Brewers this offseason, and it's mostly just because it's one of the other favorite minor league teams that major league teams I went to. Love the ballpark. Has been insanely fun to go there. And I just want to honestly see the Brewers win a World Series while Bob Uecker's still alive.
Okay.
I just really need it to happen. And not to mention, did you see the highlights of their celebration the other night? Again, Bob Uecker getting blasted with all the champagne and beer and everything, and then all of a sudden him just reaching over and grabbing the mic and going, "I peed my pants."
My other favorite celebration was
cool.
when the Orioles.
Oh, is this the Jackson
they had to
Holiday?
isolate Jackson and give him like a little bit of water. Like I don't think they isolated him, but they chirped him by giving him his own little section of it was called like bird water, and there was like it looked like a toddler jersey. It was like baby's first clinch miss.
Yeah, baby's first clinch miss. That's great. So they did that with Jackson Chourio with the Brewers too, but it was that similar fashion, but not the same exact pieces. Like they gave him like a mocktail and some things like that. This was a wild thing I actually learned, and thank you to whoever on TikTok posted this, because this was just silly level of baseball coincidences to me. So 3 of the best rookies in Major League Baseball this year all are first named Jackson. So
there's too many Jacksons.
There's too many Jacksons. So they've been nicknamed the Jackson 3 in Major League Baseball. So it's Jackson Holiday, Jackson Chourio, and then Jackson Merrill of the San Diego Padres, who obviously is another wonderful talent. And Captain Clutch, I would love to steal that gentleman for our team, but that's never going to happen now. So not only are they all the best rookies in Major League Baseball right now at the same time, and I know Paul Skeens has been Paul Skeens, but Jackson Merrill's been one of the best hitters as a rookie in Major League history as far as those kind of things go. But you have Paul Skeens being Paul Skeens. So the 3 Jacksons, they all hit their first Major League triple 2 weeks ago on the same day. That's
wild. That is insane. Baseball's weird like that.
It's coincidental, just wildness. The fact that they're all that kind of high level already. The 2 of them obviously in the American League fighting it out for 2 in the National League being in the Rookie of the Year consideration, and then you have Jackson Holiday doing what he's doing. But they all hit crazy triples. Yeah. Like they were ones that hit the walls and pinball kind of like level around to the point where obviously they legged out triples, and all 3 of them are actually very incredibly fast to go with.
Yeah.
So we got a couple of first off messages on the board here that from our friend Michelle Beer that I need at least one more Romano headbanging red black entrance in my life.
I say this.
I'm not gonna. I agree completely.
Okay, this is my statement about the Romano entrance, which is very much wrestling based. There's only 2 parts of my life. There was my life before I saw the Romano entrance and after. And let me tell you, color looks sharper. It looks brighter. Things are different since I experienced the Romano entrance. And with the dome closed, it like rocked harder.
Oh,
the
it really
lights were
does.
lightier. The sound was louder. And like, I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, what is happening?
Yep.
What is going on right now? Yeah, I miss it so much. I hope they bring. I want Romano. It is his entrance. I want him back. I wish the best for Romano because like he's our guy and he looks insane. He looks totally insane, but he's almost like a Batman Bruce Wayne situation.
Especially when you don't see him now.
No, not only that, it's like in that he's super serious when he's on the mound, and then well, actually Bruce Wayne's pretty serious, but some other superhero. Where at the when he's not in pitcher mode, he's all just like super brill and chill and breezy, and just like, hey, what's up? Anyway.
Yep.
Yes.
So I agree. And then we have one more other from her that I have to mention here it's just too easy.
Nobody.
Got to root for the Mets because Gibby.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, that's it. Like, I love the playoffs. See, the thing is, I remember one of my friends said, Liz, you know about the Blue Jays, but you don't really know a lot about like the league as a whole, which is true. For years, I just went to games, and that was kind of my jam. Playoffs gives me a chance to just suck it all in, just like get into it. And I watch almost like as much any game, any team that's on, I'm into it. Yeah, I mean, definitely Mets over Yankees. Let's go.
Oh, 100%. I that might be the cherry that on top of that comment there, because obviously we would love to see Gibby win one.
Yeah.
But just watching the Yankees fans getting all pissy and to this point, watch their fans' face melt, it's putting the cherry on the top. So it's too fun. But that's the one thing I can't stand if the playoffs go any way that anybody thinks is if the Yankees end up winning. I don't care who wins. I'd rather have anybody but the Yankees winning. Here in New York, that's all I'll hear about.
It unites baseball when you're outside of New York because everybody, like the rule is, so I kind of like I vibed out this rule. The playoff rule is this. You pick a team, an underdog team. You don't want the Dodgers to win. And you don't really want the Yankees to win, but if the Dodgers and Yankees do make it, you want the Dodgers to win.
You got it. Also, one of my buddies that would be, you ask him, it's like, hey, because he's like us, he doesn't want to see the Yankees win anything, but he's also pretty hateful on a couple of other teams. If those two teams are playing at each other and you tell him this, he'd be like, I have to pick one. Can't I just root for the stadium to collapse or something? And some act of God to the fact that he doesn't have to pick one or the other. But it is what it is. And I told him, being the baseball enthusiastic historian that I am, I'm like, you can't say that, Mike, because it happened almost once with the Oakland A's and the San Francisco Giants during an earthquake.
Yeah, then you don't put that in the ether again.
Can't say that.
You can't say that. But I will say, it's been a while since the Yankees got a ring. I do like that. Like it's been ages in Yankee years. And like again, I do have a nice Aaron Judge signed baseball from the man himself. Really nice guy. Don't want him to get a ring this year. Sorry, bud.
Yep. And glad to see that Michelle's agreeing with us because she wants to see Teo and KK win.
Absolutely. Don't you want to see KK get a ring? I want to see KK get a ring. I mean, the rest of the crew too. But I mean, I was
honestly shocked that KK didn't win that year that they played against the Phillies and watched Chase Utley and everybody win, because to me, that year the Rays had a better team than the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah,
they just could not get over the hump in the World Series.
Couldn't do it.
So David Price was on that team, just saying.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
That was a game that we might have to play over the offseason. I don't know if you've seen those games where people are playing. Did you know this player actually played for this team? And you see like that Bobby Bonilla was a Giant at one point, or the fact that Joe Carter was even a Cleveland Indian for 5 seconds. Things like that. It's a fun game.
In this offseason, I'm going to be rewatching the 92 and 93 World Series. Not like the final games. I'm going to do the whole thing. In fact, I may even just do the entire playoffs. I don't know.
It's funny that great minds think alike, because I honestly was, the World Series videos that they had from back then that were literally a VHS tape. I got them. I still have the tape.
Yeah, back to back. I remember the back-to-back one. And I remember the 92 one solidified my love of Kelly Gruber. which, I mean, now he's problematic, but he had a cool haircut.
My favorite player from back then is also very problematic, in Roberto Alomar. And all my bats and everything that I have in the back room that are autographed, worthless.
Okay, I would suggest, I'm not going to spill it on the show, but I would suggest everybody look into Roberto Alomar and kind of his controversies, because they're insane. That's all.
Yeah, just saying. Wink. So, but on that point, where I was going with that whole thing is one of the ideas I had for fun with off season was get a few people together on the podcast here, play the video, because it's on YouTube for free now, so I can do what the hell I damn want. And we could just have some fun going down memory lane, telling stories and goofing around. It would be a good time. And then we can retell Todd Stottlemyre's awesome story from the other night.
Or just call it, like, I don't know, feeling better. Just feeling better.
A trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
So, one off-season things like we were saying to come. Like I said, episode 427 here of the show this evening is not the final one of the off-season. So, make sure you tune in, get those clicks in, subscribe wherever you can. If you could be so kind to leave us a review, that would also be very great. We would much appreciate it. And Michelle says she still has that VHS somewhere too. So
right,
great. I'm glad that maybe you're gonna have to join the party.
Yeah, come on in, bud.
It's not like we haven't invited you on the show yet. Anyway, I should have called you last minute tonight when everybody canceled, Michelle. So, but on that note, is there anything you would like to talk about? I feel like we had a couple of other topics, but my screen's freaking out a little bit right now.
Yeah, I think we did. I feel like there's something. Is there anything obvious that we're forgetting? Okay, hold on. Let's talk about the Jays. Jays had a really good game last night. I know we dipped into it a little bit, but I think we saw the first home run. I think his name is Jonathan Clase. Was it Clase? Clase, which was fun, man. That's so nice to, like, you know, it must be such a good feeling to get that out of the way prior to next season, or prior to, like, even being put back down. And so I was there. It was super awesome. I saw he got the ball back. I think it went into the bullpen. He got the ball back, which was awesome. But yeah, I don't know. Like, the Jays, I know we've had a bad season. I know that. It's hurt. It's hurt pretty bad. We're supposed to be contending right now. We're not. But yeah, I mean, we still got a weekend full of baseball, and it's.
And I'm gonna be there with you.
And we are where we said we were going to be, of, like, letting the kids play, understanding who our team could be next year, getting some young guys having their at-bats, which has been just a really fun experience. It's fun to have a young team. I love watching a young scrambly team while they learn and get better. We've seen Vladdy, you know, a resurgence of Vladdy. Good for Vladdy. Kirky's crushing. Like, so, like,
Kirky's
it's like
looking like he was the guy we had a few years ago that we were like, oh, we got abundance of catchers. We better trade somebody. And next thing you know, Gabriel Moreno's gone.
And, like, so anyway, I guess, like, I refuse to go silently into the night with the season being trash without being like, nah, I will see the light.
Yeah. I think the more wild thing about Jonathan Clase's evening was the fact that not only did he have his first home run, but he went 3 for 3 last night. So he also scored 2 runs and the 2 runs on our 2 runs drove in on the home run, obviously. But he might be the guy that was the steal for the Blue Jays trade deadline.
Yeah,
we've seen a little bit from Loperfido in some very fine flashes, but defense has been solid. We haven't seen the bat yet. There's some guys obviously that are going to come later here, and that Charles McAdoo, that's down lower, I still think might be the prize that we got from that whole thing from the Pirates for IKF, because he was on fire. And we had our buddy from Jay's Journals come on and talk about prospects, and that was the guy he was high on too. Yeah. But watching Clase do that, he was doing really good from a change of scenery coming to Buffalo. Yeah. And they had to promote him to give him some kind of a chance. It was just insane to watch him do what he was doing for the Buffalo Bisons. And it's like, okay, well, they're not in the playoffs or anything. No. Give him a chance at the big show and see what happens. So things like that are really cool to see. But I do love the resurgence we've seen from Kirky now that he's had the full-time role. And bringing back Tyler Heineman randomly all of a sudden.
I know, that was weird.
I was like, what?
He's apparently really good at magic. And I was like, yeah, his major magic trick is reappearing and appearing as from nowhere. Like,
that's great. But the thing that honestly irked me the most on that whole thing is we lost Bound Francis lost his catcher. And I just couldn't believe that. That was what shocked me the most. Go ahead. You look like you had something.
No, it was that it was the Bowden Francis' little battery mate. and they look like they had something really good going there.
Worst case scenario, let them finish the season. That was the thing that was like, really? We're going to do that now? It just seemed very odd.
Maybe, so, I don't know. Maybe they're trying out both for next year. Not sure.
But are you really hoping to hang your hat on the fact that those two gentlemen are going to be your backup catchers next year?
I don't know.
That's the thing I don't know about. But to that point, I'd rather, I guess one of them's fine, but both of them, I just feel like you can't get off the Tyler Heineman train or something with this front office. I would hope they're setting their bar higher for next spring, but who knows? I don't know. I've
here's the thing. Again, I bitch about this front office every single day. But they have showed us they want to spend the money on big trades. So I'm just going to kind of be cool. I'm just going to have my heart closed, but my eyes and ears open and just see what's up, see what happens. I've had some really good surprises before. I don't know. But I don't know. Again, and we'll talk about this in future weeks. I have no idea what the team's going to look like. I don't know who our guys are going to be. Couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Speaking of guys that couldn't tell they were going to be playing baseball until about a week ago, did you see that the all-time Charlie Blackmon for the Colorado Rockies has actually announced he's retiring at the end of the season? So he just played his last game at Coors Field. It's the guy that played his whole 14-year career for the Colorado Rockies. And
I really wonder what that's like. Okay, the Rockies. I think it was
14 years.
They're never good, eh?
Yeah.
What's up with that? What's up with that? Is anybody why are they never? Is it the Rockies' fault? Is it management? Is it where they are in terms of the air quality? What's up with that?
I don't know. You would think the high altitude training would work pretty good. It seemed to work good for Papa Dante Bichette.
I don't know. I've heard rumors that it causes pitching problems. It causes consistent pitching problems.
They found some ways to combat that though a little bit
with the humidor.
Yep. But it's still you're a mile high above sea level.
Yeah.
In that ballpark. I've been there. It does feel different.
Yeah.
For especially somebody that's apparently in the low lake area like where we live here, Liz, around Lake Ontario. But it felt vastly different being in that ballpark, and it was it's not like it was like I was getting lightheaded or anything, but I said, it was one of those things that was just something's a little different. And then when you think about where you are geographically, elevation wise, it makes a little sense. But air's thinner. So running around and training, it's not as good on your body, maybe. But to that point, Charlie Blackmon played 14 years in that and was a all-star for a lot of that. So you have guys like Todd Helton, who made the Hall of Fame Larry Walker, these guys. So yeah, he's a former Silver Slugger, 4-time all-star. And there was a year he actually batted .331.
Wait, sorry, Larry Walker? Or Blackmon?
No, Blackmon.
Yeah. Okay, and they don't have a championship, eh? The Rockies? Nah.
They've been to the World Series once.
Yeah, Rockies.
They are one of the Rockies, teams that are still a championship list team.
Okay, Rockies, Padres. Let's see, hold on.
Brewers.
Who?
Brewers.
Rays. The Rays. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So on that note, though, there's not many teams left that aren't a championship. I just think it's hilarious.
Out of those teams, who would you like to see get one?
Like I said, right now I'm rooting for the Brewers. I really am. There's something about it. I didn't want to see Manny Machado win a World Series. I just don't like that guy. I don't know why.
Yeah,
it was since 2015 years when he was playing against the Blue Jays in the playoffs and whatnot. The guy has a chip on his shoulder.
I thought he was mean. Isn't he mean? Is there something mean about him?
He just strikes me as the guy that played the game a little dirty.
Yeah.
And there was evidence to that in 2014, 15, 16. So I'm hoping that for his sake that, he's obviously had a good long career in San Diego since. So I'm hoping he's cleaned up his act because he's one of those guys now that everybody says is a good locker room guy and all that kind of stuff. So hopefully that means he's turned it around now that he's got some money in his pocket. But maybe it was just the chip on his shoulder he had while he was playing in Baltimore.
Maybe. I know Bryce Harper was like that.
Yep.
And I love watching Bryce Harper play baseball.
I enjoyed watching Bryce Harper punch frickin' Jonathan Papelbon a few years ago too, but that's besides the point.
That is not part of the game. I don't condone it, but damn, it's fun, man.
Papelbon earned that one, I'm pretty sure. The guy's still a kind of a quasi social media nightmare. But hey, part of the game. Big egos. That's how it is. So speaking of big egos, it's it wouldn't be just to not talk about any pre-season or pre-off season wonderfulness that could happen. Everybody's pretty damn sure that Juan Soto is 100% going to be a free agent. The rumor is there's only so many teams that have enough money. And right now it sounds like there'll be a contest between both New York teams, the Yankees, the Mets, obviously. Apparently the Washington Nationals might be involved. The Toronto Blue Jays have been linked to saying, hey, we have enough money that we might be able to do this.
We're all ready to get hurt again.
How that happens. Exactly. Is this going to
be ready to get hurt again? I'm ready to get hurt again. I'll get hurt for Juan Soto. Here's my hope. I think that Juan Soto is going to be a Yankee. I think he said he loves being a Yankee. I think being a Yankee is a big deal for a lot of players, including Juan Soto. Yeah. But
so unless you're Ken Griffey Jr., apparently, because he said that was the one team he would quit and retire from if he ever got pulled by them or traded to him.
Vladdy said that for 2 weeks, and then he walked that back. But I want to know, here's the thing, though. Since Vladdy got hot, it does increase the cachet of the Blue Jays. Vladdy's hitting dingers again. That's a fun guy to be around, know? And I don't know his relationship with Soto. I know he's buds with Tatis. I don't know if he's tight with Soto. I hope he is, because it's nice to have somebody be like, hey, come on over. You'll be a star here. Soto's going to be a star. He may even outstar our guy Vladdy, but he's never going to outstar Aaron Judge. And Soto's a big personality. He's a babe, and he's good at hitting the baseball. And I don't know if we're going to pull him. I don't know if we can pull him. But I'm certainly going to get heartbroken and for the chance for Soto. But I think he wants to be
that point. He's friends with Vladdy, so there might be something to that, especially if they extend him.
Yeah, if they extend Vladdy, here's the thing: our best ambassador, if they extend Vladdy, will be Vladdy. He's the guy who's got he's the guy who's going to be like, come on over. And Vladdy, man, he's a hustler. He's not
It could be our Dwayne Wade that brings LeBron to town. That's all I'm going to say.
Right? Anyway, I have faith in Vladdy. I have faith in I don't have faith in the front office, but I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah. So I got to walk back our conversation here because, like I said, I should have invited Michelle on the show tonight because she's been on fire in the chat on YouTube.
Thanks, bud.
Right there to our catcher conversation with Bow and Francis. She might have some smoke to that. So,
but maybe, but damn.
Is it real?
Is it? And
many people in baseball have been asking. Maybe you throw another catcher at and see if the same lightning strikes twice, or was it just that?
But who cares though?
I agree with that. I don't like throwing wrenches at things, especially when things are working.
It went beautiful. So I don't know.
And then she actually has the next topic that we should really actually talk about because as a Blue Jays. Yeah, as Blue Jays fans, we actually fell in love with this gentleman for a few years, and then he really trailed off. And today was the last game that Adam Simber actually played.
Because you gotta let it simber. His mechanics were wild. So he kind of started because he was a sub. What is it? What's that called?
Submariner
pitcher. He had so much movement in his body that the fact that he could be accurate with that ball for most of the time was always a shock, just given the amount of movement and goofy movements.
Goofy movements that worked. It was a completely different pitch for a lot of people. There was I think he said this in an interview when he was with the Blue Jays, and he goes, everybody's throwing the ball top to down, right? Yeah. Every Major League Baseball player comes and starts up here. Where he was coming from, it was kind of almost like an upward swing, like a softball pitcher.
Yeah.
That was actually throwing the ball that hard. And he wasn't a radar gun darling by any means.
No.
Mid-80s. but with that ball in a different trajectory going up a little bit, was fooling some hitters. There is a very famous video of Jenny Finch, one of the best softball pitchers in softball pros history, pitching to Albert Pujols. And Albert Pujols could not touch her at all. And there's two things going on. When you're throwing from that arm angle, like I said, the ball rises. Yeah. Most baseball players are training to come, down on the ball a little bit. So you intersect it at the right time, where you have to do that the opposite in softball because the ball is kind of be rising up. You almost got to kind of tomahawk it.
Yeah. So it's different. It's different.
So that was what I think for his career really fooled some players for a long time. And then we even saw in the last parts of his Blue Jays career that he lost control and he couldn't dot the frame anymore. So here we are. Obviously had a season with the Angels, but congratulations to your retirement, Mr. Simber. And hopefully we can snag you on the show because that's what we like to do here is have ex-Blue Jays on the show.
Respect. I also, speaking of ex-Blue Jays, I was walking down Ossington today and I spotted a man in a Curtis Granderson shirt and it made my whole day. I love Curtis Granderson. I loved having him on the team. He was cute. He was really good. Nice. He was
got a hell of a prestigious job, I think, with Major League Baseball now.
Yeah, he was like the ambassador of baseball for a while. And I think Mr. Baseball, I don't know who was the head of the league at the time, wrote a letter saying, like, you're an upstanding man. Thank you.
Wild upstanding man. He's a former Roberto Clemente Award winner, just like Mr. Bassett. But as far as he had some crazy new job title and I wanted to say he was part of the ones that started the Dubai Baseball League too. I can't remember what it was, but it was the he helped out a lot with the Negro League game at I'm blanking on the name of the field for this year. Like they did the Field of Dreams game. They did the one that was at Stride Field for the Negro League game this year. So I'm sure he played a great piece in the back of that with getting the stats for the Negro Leagues actually accepted into Major League Baseball records, which we had a whole good talk about that on the show right when you came on, I think. And it was just it's wild to know that you got all of a sudden guys that were, not in, and there's actually a few ladies in those Major League records now because of that whole thing too. And I highly recommend if anybody hasn't seen it, Tony Storm is the one that played for the same team as Hank Aaron. Just saying. So really cool stuff. Thanks, Michelle. We really greatly appreciate the comments from the peanut gallery like usual. So is there anything else you want to do before we go to Picks to Click and get on moving?
I don't know. I think that's it. No, I think it's it. I think I've given all the baseball in my heart for right now.
Well, Blue Jays fans, on the note of just personal fun and stuff, like I said, Liz and I are going to be at the Saturday, Sunday games. Make sure you find us as we're going to try being bleacher creatures all weekend and hang out with everybody and have a good time. So make sure you join us. You got something on your mind?
No, okay. When you sit at the bleachers, you get free certificates for Canada Dry ginger ale. I have like so many of them, but like I use them. So
we know I won't be handing these out at the ball game because I almost got taken away last time.
But if you see me, people do see me at the ball game. They do say what's up. Say what's up. You'll get a coaster for our podcast.
Yep. I got a whole new pile for you to make sure you can keep handing them out as you're wandering around.
Yesterday,
I got no more baseball cards though.
Yesterday, I just had somebody yell, "Les!" And then I what's up them. It's still jarring when you're like, I don't know who you are, but thank you.
Where's it coming from? Do I have a tumor? That's fun stuff. But to that point, it's great. So we're down to the wire, like we were talking about. You've had your wonderful, glorious return to relevancy here from in salvaging Ken's picks and running to the promised land. Yeah. So just before because we technically have to do one more because we got to have who was the best performer for the weekend series here for next week's show. Currently, I am in last place and out of contention with 4. Jason is currently winning with 7 wins. You have 6 wins, and the guest spot has an even 5.
Great.
So, Liz, You had Vladdy last week.
I had him last week because I was going to pick him this week too. Okay.
Yeah. So you had Vladdy last week. Let's look at sort by hits like I usually do on here. And Vlad Guerrero was 100%, 10 hits last week to anybody that was close, which was Ernie Clement with 7 and Alejandro Kirk with 7. So that is slightly obnoxious. The only person that had more RBIs was Kirk on the whole team. I think you won that. So I had Nathan Lucas. Jason had Springer in the guest spot. We gave him Ernie Clement.
Yep.
That was a pretty good pull for the Ernie last week.
Yeah.
Just saying. So
I
am going to make sure I circle you up on that because I think there's no way of slicing it other than the fact unless somebody picked Alejandro Kirk was the really only person that could have even put you contention. So you are 100% tied with Jason Lyons.
And he's like Mr. Baseball. Like he knows things.
He knows stuff. He's so SMRT.
I know. I just experience it, but he knows it.
Yes. So on that note, I got to pick the guest spot here, but you have your pick ready. And the unfortunate reality is that you cannot pick Vladdy.
I know. I picked Kirk.
You're going to pick Kirky.
Yeah, I'm playing one.
Ride the wave.
Yep.
And I'm just going to try my best here to tie the guest spot, but I have to pick the roughest all day, every day starter for our guest spot. And it looks like I'm going to have to give the guest spot Addison Barger because he played 6 games last week and batted a mere .071 and somehow walked as many times as he struck out. That was interesting.
But like, is there like there's not a handsome quote. There's no like handsome score. Cause like he's handsome. He's got a lovely flow. Better than Bo's. Some would say.
It's that little bit younger thing, right? He's just got it's got that little extra to it. Although my hair is getting about as long as Bo right now.
I will just say one more thing. Also, he's like jacked.
Yes. I honestly, I've had this talk before, and I always used to use Giancarlo Stanton as the person to go to on this talk. Is there a point in baseball where too jacked problem?
Yeah, it's got to be. It's where you lose flexibility in motion. And so I thought Barger might have been too jacked when we got him, but I guess not. Maybe when he gets older, he's got to be a little less jacked, but like it seems it's working for him. So
Jason not being here this week, he gets the next that one better Blue Jay that from the bottom. And he's going to have to go with Joey Loperfido. So he picked the wrong week to not show up against you, Liz. That's all I'm going to say.
There we go. I win by picking the obvious players.
Yeah. So on that note, I'm going to have a little fun here. I'm going to go with Class A and see if I can beat Addison Barger with Class A.
Beauty.
So that's really going to be a fun one. But like I said, you two are playing for the chip.
I don't want it, but I hope I win.
Yeah. I just hope you get that. Right now, I would just think it would be rather funny because Ken won last year, and then you win against me and Jason this year. He's gonna be like, I just want you to hold it over his head all off season. Be like, oh, remember that time I showed up half season and I whooped your ass and picks the click. Maybe it's just because that's what I do to my friends when I win my fantasy football league, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
So, anything else?
No, I think we good.
We good. All right. Well, Blue Jays fans and Michelle especially, thank you very much for tuning in this evening and having some chit chat with us. We are the Barroom Chat for Blue Jays fans, the Jay Bird Watching podcast. Please make sure you subscribe, like, whatever you can to help us out. We've been trying to make sure we put some more video content out. We have been getting all sorts of feedback, including feedback from Mr. Todd Stottlemyre himself about the wonderful clips we've been posting. Kind of a sweetheart kind of guy, right, Liz? I love that one. We got so much response from the one about him picking, saying that the Blue Jays are still his pick every year to win the World Series. Classic stuff. Can't miss on that one. So, but yeah, like, subscribe, give us reviews anywhere you can. It helps us reach out to more Toronto Blue Jays fans. And if you can help us out, especially on TikTok, we would love to get to 1,000 followers on TikTok so we can actually go live like we do like this every week on TikTok instead of having to post it up later with just clips. So anyways, Blue Jays fans, thank you very much, and we will have a great evening with you at the ball game. If you happen to show up, and I forgot completely about that part, Les, I don't even have it in front of me, so I'll have to do it. So, but anyways, Blue Jays fans, thank you again, and have a great evening, and we'll see you at the game.
Later, buds.
Thank you for listening to the Jay Bird Watching Podcast. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch at BirdwatchingGC, and our YouTube channel. If you want to support the show and get extra content, please consider joining to our Patreon at patreon.com/birdwatchinggc. Go Jays, go.
Woo!